Hey everyone, how you guys doing? If you're new here, my name is Dani Christine. I am a multi-site childcare business owner, consultant, and a digital content creator here on childcaresites.com, where you can find resources for childcare professionals such as yourself, whether you are just starting out in the childcare business industry or if you are already running and operating multiple center-based locations like me. There are so many tools that you can take advantage of on childcaresites.com, such as free webinars, other YouTube videos like this one, and even podcast episodes or courses that you can access as well. So head on over to childcaresites.com after this video to see what you can grab. Last weekend, I was kind of teasing you guys in my Instagram stories with a certain question that I had. If you don't follow me on Instagram, it is at Dani Christine Consulting. You can follow me there to keep up to date with how things are going within my childcare businesses, or just different tips and tricks and questions like this one I'm about to talk about that might interest you. So this was the question that I posted in my Instagram stories. I wanted to know if you could guess why $272,474 was important to me. And some of you guys came up with great answers, and honestly, it was probably the Instagram story that got the most participation out of all the ones that I do post. You guys had some great guesses. I saw weekly profit, teacher salaries, payroll, the amount that I pay myself. I saw taxes, and just so many different guesses, and they're close but not quite. I will say that this one is probably the closest. Payroll for directors since we've been open, but that's not really it either. So $272,474. Why is that significant in my business operations? I'll say first, without that amount of money, I would not be able to do what it is that I do today. I wouldn't be able to have the freedom to sit here and make this video for you. That amount of money represents the total salaries spent on administrative team members in 1 year. That's the amount of money that I'm about to start paying approximately. Honestly, it's a little more, but that number is significant because without my administrative team and the exact amount of money that I spend on them, having those people in place, I would not have the freedom and flexibility to grow and scale my business in the way that I have and the way that I continue to do. If you don't already know, I own and operate 3 childcare centers in Long Island, New York, and I currently live and am currently sitting in my home office in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I'm over 100 miles away, and I am comfortable with that each day. I do not commute to my childcare businesses. I stay put pretty much day after day unless I need to go there for some reason or if I just want to check in. And I wouldn't be able to do that if I didn't have, again, the administrators that I have in place. Some childcare providers might look at that and consider that to be a waste of money. That might be way too much in others' opinions that you can spend on leadership within your business, but I highly disagree. I do think that it's a lot. I do know that I'm spending it, but I don't view it as a waste. I couldn't agree more with the decision to not waste money on leadership and administration. But when you invest money in high quality professionals that know what they're doing and can shift your business in the direction that you want it to be shifted to, it becomes a game changer and a lifesaver for me. I remember when I first became a childcare business owner, I was running a family daycare out of my home, and I was doing it by myself for the first couple of months, working alone for over 12 hours a day in my house, going stir crazy until I hired my first employee and then my second and third. And at one point I had 4 different employees in my home daycare. But even then, I still found myself working all the time, day in and day out, inside the program with the children while they were present, and then for several hours after, trying to work on the vision of where I saw this going, because I knew for me, I didn't want to stop at just a home daycare setting, and I wasn't quite sure how I was going to grow and move out of that setting. If you're interested in learning how I did or how I got to the point that I am at today, I encourage you to check out the playlist that I've linked in the description below that includes my journey, and specifically I'll link a video about how I got started. But even when I opened my first center-based location, I still found myself working over 12 hours, over 13, 14, 15, sometimes 16 hours a day. I remember one time I found myself in my center until 2 o'clock in the morning by myself, just sitting there conceptualizing different things that would make my business better, because I didn't have time to do that during the day. I was the director of my program, constantly being interrupted by staff members, children, or parents that they felt like they needed to talk to me in that moment, and I felt that they needed to talk to me in that moment, and I would stop whatever I was doing, regardless of how important that person's request actually was. And I'm not trying to say that people's requests are not important, but I am trying to say that certain things can wait. They don't have to interrupt what you're doing in that moment in order to have a situation resolved or a question answered. It can wait an hour, it can wait 2 hours. Some things can wait a day or a week if need be. But I'm easily distracted, and I will for sure stop what I'm doing to quickly solve whatever problem is presented to me and then get back to what I'm doing. And that was happening day after day, hour after hour, minute by minute, and I was getting nowhere. I was not able to be the visionary that my business needed me to be until I hired an assistant director. Honestly, that assistant director that I initially had, the first one ever, did not work out for my business, but that position was vital. I eventually hired Gigi, and she was quickly promoted to my assistant director. If you don't know who Gigi is, she is the co-host of the Childcare Sights and Sounds podcast that we started last year, and you can hear more about our experiences working together as leadership within my company by clicking the link in the description to hear our podcast episodes. But having an assistant director by itself was super helpful. Employees, parents, and children that needed something immediately no longer knocked on my door all the time. They were knocking on my assistant's door. They were passing messages through her to me so that I can get to them at the time that was convenient. I was able to train her on how to prioritize what was important to interrupt me with, while also still allowing the people that needed to reach me have a medium to do so in that moment, so that they wouldn't forget what they needed and they felt heard immediately. That was something that was going on while I was able to focus on what I needed to grow and make the business better. The reason that I did not stop there is because I knew that my ultimate goal was to grow into owning multiple centers. At the time where I was the director and I had Gigi as my assistant director, I knew that that's not where it was stopping. So in order for me to open center number 2, center number 3, center number 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, however many is to come in the future, I needed to get out of the director's seat. I needed to give this seat to somebody who could focus on just the director duties, because that alone is a lot. And I was not able to successfully function as the director and as the business owner, because if you aren't aware, those are two very different roles. Being the owner of the business who has all the risk, the responsibility of liability, payroll, making sure that the phones keep ringing so that money can continue to flow in, so that bills can continue to be paid, so that lives can continue to be changed. That's not the director's job. The director's job, at least in my company, is to ensure health and safety and regulations compliance, pretty much. So I wanted to focus my attention on building a bigger, better business versus studying 100 pages of licensing regulations. I am so grateful that I have people in the position to know those regulations, and I know them too, honestly, like the back of my hand, but I wasn't able to successfully monitor them to the point that I wanted to, while at the same time growing the business. And I know that I'm being repetitive, but it's because I'm so passionate about freeing yourself up, even if you don't have any plans to expand physically and open multiple sites. What about just building a better brand for your business within your community? What about filling your program? What about having a wait list? What about just allowing yourself to be comfortable with somebody else taking over as the leader in the event that you need to go and run to a doctor's appointment, or you want to have a 2-week vacation but not have to shut down your business? I definitely disagree with the owner of the business not being present, so that means that the business has to close. That's not a business. That's a job for yourself and everybody else that is your client, your customer. Those families are now running off of your personal schedule. I disagree. Even with my home daycare setting, I wanted it to get to a point, and it did, where I had employees that knew what to do in the event of inspections or emergencies or situations with parents. Because at the time, the first year that I had a home daycare, I was actually in my senior year of my undergrad. So I had classes, I had exams, I had things that I had to do, and I knew I couldn't shut down my business because I had to be out of it for a few hours a day. So again, even if you are a business owner that would prefer to be the director or be the person in charge of running the day-to-day operations on site, I still encourage you to train somebody to know how to do exactly what you do. And the reason for that is because what if you get sick? What if you get hit by a bus? What if you have an emergency and you have to leave? You don't want to miss out on your income or possibly lose families because of your inconsistencies. And you don't want to put your priorities outside of work on the back burner because you know that you don't want those things to happen, and you sacrifice your personal health and well-being or your relationships with your families. Trust me, I know. I know. And I don't want things like that to continue, which is why I put myself in the position that I am in today. So $272,474 is approximately the amount of money in salaries that I am happily spending on my administrative team of about 8 people. I believe we have about 8 now across all 3 of my centers. Those positions include center directors, administrative assistants. We also have an operations manager, and now we're also bringing on a curriculum coordinator, who I am so happy to have joining us, because for the past few years, I have known the importance of having a strong curriculum and a strong support system for the teachers within the classrooms, but I haven't been able to put anything in place because we didn't have the budget for it. But now that we have grown and have scaled, I am so excited to be able to afford somebody in that position to pay attention to exactly how the curriculum is being implemented within the classroom, how differentiation is occurring, how teachers are lesson planning, what those daily reports look like. It is such a luxury to have different administrative team members that have specific roles and responsibilities that can focus, take a closer zoomed in look on specific things to make sure those specific things are in alignment with our policies. Again, I am happily spending that money because having the freedom and flexibility to do what I do, to make videos like this, to help you guys, and to work on my business remotely and be the visionary and conceptualize new ideas is more than I could ever ask for. The curriculum coordinator alone, just for full transparency, is making more money than I pay myself. And to you, that might seem crazy, but to me, that is a sacrifice that I'm willing to make. I am fine with not getting all the money that I could possibly get out of my business immediately. It's funny that some of you guessed that that dollar amount that I shared is what I pay myself in a year, or what my salary is. And honestly, maybe it could be, but because I know that my intentions are to scale this business to be as big as it can be while still maintaining high quality services and standards, that's not something that I need at the moment. I don't have a lifestyle and don't desire at the moment today to have a lifestyle that would require that level of income. I don't buy designer bags or shoes or clothes or things like that. I don't have a luxury car. I don't have really much that I would need a salary like that, nor am I even focusing on things like that at the moment. I know that I will get to that point someday, and I would want to be at that point someday, but today, in order to get to that point comfortably, and more importantly, to maintain that level of wealth, I know that it is important to reinvest that income back into the business for more important immediate things like better equipment, better furniture, better curriculums, better tools, better systems, and better salaries for better positions. So I will happily spend the $272,474 annually to have the right people in the right seats focusing on the right things. Now you tell me in the comments below, what administrative positions do you have currently in your childcare business that helps you free up your time to focus on your business rather than working in your business? Or what administrative positions do you hope to have, or scratch that, not hope, what administrative positions will you have when you are able to afford to do so? Let me know down below. And if you aren't following me on Instagram, please be sure to do so at Dani Christine Consulting, so that you can be updated every time I post on my Instagram stories, and you can participate in questions and polls and things like this. Don't forget to like this video if you did, and let me know if it was worth the wait. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.